Well, hello, everybody. I'm Jeremy. This is Be Terrible Movies, and this is my spoiler-filled review for the movie Bone Tomahawk. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to have any of the major plot points spoiled for you, check for the link in the description to my general review. Bone Tomahawk is a really cool genre mashup. It didn't get a lot of marketing behind it. I actually wasn't even familiar with it until about a week ago. Like, it kind of slipped by under my radar. And I'm super happy that I was able to see it. Maybe you'll see this review and it will spark your interest and you'll go out and check out this film. For one thing, I love Westerns. Unforgiven, Tombstone, so many awesome Westerns. What was the 3:10 to Yuma? Westerns are just a really cool genre of movie. Horror movies, I love the good ones, but, so often we get subpar horror movies. So a lot of times I will like genre mashups or I'll like meta horror movies just because they add a different element to this formula, right? And Bone Tomahawk is very much a genre mashup of classical Westerns and kind of new school horror movies, torture porn kind of movies. I hate the word torture porn, but it really does apply to this film. And being that we're talking about spoilers, I can tell you why. At the very end of the movie, when they actually make it to where the troglodytes, cave-dwelling Indians, bastard inbred sons of a tainted bloodline who would murder and eat their own families, or I don't remember what they say about them, but these aren't regular Indians, and they live in a cave, and they've kidnapped villager or townsfolk that Kurt Russell and his camp are trying to go and save. And at the point when they actually do find where these guys are staying at, it gets pretty gnarly. The deputy who was abducted, he's the first to go. They pull him out of this little cave that he's cage that they've been keeping him captive in. They hold him upside down, stripped naked, and hold him by each of his legs. And one of them uses their bone tomahawk, which is the title of the movie, to split him, like just start whacking him in the taint. While one of them is holding the left leg and the other is holding the right leg. After they've already scalped him, they turn him upside down and they start splitting him in the taint and they just rip him in half like a freaking wishbone. And the camera does not cut away. It doesn't do anything to obscure your field of view. So all of this just crazy, heinous violence plays out right in front of you. This is a very, very graphically violent movie. And it really pulls no punches. It lets you experience it through the eyes of, one of the characters, basically. But it's not just a gore fest. I found that my favorite part of it was just the banter between these characters as they were kind of camping, traveling from the town where they started out to this cave where everything ends up. It is, at its core, a pretty straightforward Cowboys versus Indians movie, but done in a way that is very refreshing and unlike anything I've ever seen before. At the very beginning of the movie, Sid Haig and David Arquette are robbing and killing people on this trail. They interfere with the Indian burial ground, and that sets this whole event into motion. You never mess with an Indian burial ground. If I've learned one thing from horror movies, you don't mess with an Indian burial ground. And that's basically what this movie comes down to. It's like Poltergeist or Pet Sematary in that way. And a lot of unexpected things happen throughout it. Patrick Wilson is the husband of the woman who's abducted at the beginning of the movie, and he's treating a leg injury. So he's injured, like crippled since the beginning of the movie, and that becomes an obstacle that they have to overcome as they're hiking on this very unforgiving trail in the West. And he is dedicated. He wants to get his wife back no matter what the cost. So he is putting his leg through hell through the entire movie just by walking and putting pressure on it. And they don't cop out on that. They let you know, like, this is a real injury that you just can't get up, and when the action demands that you can run around and jump kick people and stuff, it doesn't play out like that at all. He is very much marginalized by this wound that he has. And at one point, they debate on whether they're going to amputate his leg or not, and he's just like not having it. So luckily, we don't have to watch that go down. But Richard Jenkins is an awesome actor. He's somebody that is not a household name, But every performance I've ever seen him in, he just nails it. He's one of those character actors that's a chameleon. And in this movie, he's almost unrecognizable. I mean, you know it's him, obviously, if you've read the cast or whatever, but he looks different. His mannerisms are different. And I think that's what makes a good character actor. Can they disappear into the role, or do you always just see them as them? Kurt Russell, always awesome, always reliable, one of my personal favorites. It's like he grew this mustache out for The Hateful Eight. It's the same stash that he's got going on. And he owns these roles as a cowboy. Kurt Russell, to me, is a cowboy. So always great to see him. And yeah, like, this movie isn't one that was on my radar. I really didn't know about it, so I'm kind of evangelizing for it. I'm going and telling everybody I can. Have you seen Bone Tomahawk? Dude, it's so crazy. Because I would like to, introduce people to this movie. I think that it speaks kind of to my sensibilities as a fan of Westerns and as a fan of horror movies. And I think that it was a really cool blend of those two genres. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving Bone Tomahawk an 8 out of 10. This is a must-watch. One of my favorite movies of 2015, and this was a year stacked with awesome movies. So have you seen it? What are your thoughts on Bone Tomahawk? Leave it in the comments section below. Click that like button if you'd like. Subscribe to stay up to date with all of my crazy antics. And until next time, peace.